Good evening and welcome to the Women's Web March Greece 2021, organized and hosted by the Democrats Abroad Greece Women's Caucus. I'm Georgia Callis, co-organizer and moderator. Tonight, our two main presentations and topics of discussion are sexual harassment and violence against women during the COVID-19 pandemic, and defining the Me Too movement, what it is and what it is not. I would like to introduce to you our second guest speaker, who comes from the field of arts with a very extensive background, both here in Greece and internationally. Dr. Eugenia Arsenis.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your invitation. It is an honor to be invited by Democrats Abroad and Women's Web March at this event, which intends to raise awareness in relation to violence against women and to empower women. We are all here today to help towards this direction, to listen, to learn, to discuss, as it is a matter that concerns all of us, women and men of all nations, and as citizens of this world, we are responsible to fight for it. Everything starts from the family and it continues at school. Equality is something that we learn in our families when we experience mutual respect among our parents and towards us, mutual respect from and to our teachers at school, mutual respect among us and our friends. Yet it seems that the different dynamics, if I can use this word, between men and women start from the very first messages that we receive from society during our very early childhood. Consider the first fairy tales that we listen as kids. Most of the times they speak about a weak woman who is saved by a strong man. Think how many were the movies we grew up with this stereotype. Being different, of course, is something else, and it is a fact, men and women are different. Yet the way genders are presented in our first perception, where women often are shown as weak, shapes our mentality. See, religion says its own tales, myths, stories, facts, name it as you want, on how human beings were created. And even there, woman is presented as the weaker sex. In different religions, there are different versions, but mostly in the same direction. I respect one person's belief, yet I cannot accept the core mentality in most religions where a woman is treated like a lower being, where she cannot wear what she wants, and where she learns not to want, where she cannot work, where the man can have many wives, but a woman cannot even look someone else. She would be killed with stones, where she learns that she should not have sexual pleasure. I cannot accept and I cannot respect cultures where a kid of 7 years old is getting married with a 60 years old man with the permission of their parents, who they know, of course, that the kid will die on the same night. I cannot respect and I cannot accept religions and cultures where women have been educated to be afraid. And if you want, my main issue with all the international organizations who fight about human rights, and I say this because my aim is to focus on that and the rest of my life, human animal rights, that's another big discussion. And I'm really struggling with that, is that they have failed till now to confront and change the mentalities of cultures which practice all the above. Because these are fundamental issues to address when speaking about women's violence. Tarana Burke, the founder of Me Too, said on the video that we saw that many women do not realize they have been harassed at that moment, and they realize it much later. We need to educate women from when they are girls to realize that their body is something they absolutely control, nobody else. We need to encourage women to speak, to voice what has happened to them, no matter how far in the past this has happened. I cannot hear people saying, oh, she remember now after all these years. Can you imagine how this woman passed her life those years? How might this has affected her sexuality, her self-esteem, her position in society, her life? We speak about violence within the family, harassment from family members, even parents, how sick. Any kind of harassment is sick. I often say that Medea is the only character in Greek drama I cannot justify for what she does, killing her children. But harassment in the family is not something different. And I'm not speaking only about sexual harassment, because violence is not only sexual. Hitting your kid, hitting your dog, acting violently, shouting at your kid as a parent, as a teacher. Yes, this is violent, and it is serious, very serious. I'm really sensitive in relation to that, as I'm teaching for years at universities and conservatories. And as an educator myself, I despise the image of the teacher who yells at his or her students. I don't want to hear about a professor with such manner to be excused because he knows a lot. Write a book, but don't enter the classroom. We are here to inspire students, to encourage them. It is all about respect and inspiration. I do not accept that an artist who is considered a significant one, they're allowed to have hostile manners towards the actor. It is a horrific action when directors try to impose their vision by shouting at the actors. And I do not only refer to the recent appalling narrations that we listened from victims of sexual harassment within the theater circle here in Greece, but generally the way we run a rehearsal, the way we communicate and share our vision to and with our collaborators. In one of my university classes that I was supervising directing students, I remember a student who had the role of the director in this class, and she was shouting at the student actor on stage because he was forgetting his words. You see, now it's the opposite. It's a woman towards a man, right? And she said, you know, you keep forgetting your words, you're worth nothing. And from the very end of the theater, they heard me saying to the actor student, please, at this point, I'm asking you to leave the stage. And the students could not understand what was happening. And then I continued, never allow a director to speak to you like that. Within the arts and within any working environment, professional, social, we need to reevaluate at the end what is considered, I don't want to say appropriate, but I will say humanistic, collegial approach. This stands for all people, women and men. Respect transcends culture, generations, professions, and sex. The pandemic revealed a lot and showed the most disappointing side of reality. It seems that in many situations, people were escaping into their work environment. They were not passing time together. So they were avoiding their true feelings or the lack of feelings, mainly the lack of respect within families. Alas, when there were kids in the families, what images they have seen. Parents should not forget that through their actions, they are responsible for the future life of their kids and of our society. A few months ago, I learned the term ghosting. I didn't know. You might do. And it is about people who disappear in relationships and they never explain, because we spoke also about emotional violence, right? And truly, sudden, unjustified disappearance is a form of violence and a harsh one. The sad is that it is even considered a trendy term. So what kind of society are we encouraging? Two more words before I finish. As women, we need to understand our rights, from girls to mature women. And being able to stand on our feet, we can help the others. Community works, art helps, forum theater, in empower women. There are many tools to suggest and share, possibly another time. Obviously, support from therapists is very important. And also, Maria already spoke about it among other very interesting things, and I'm sure Zefi will continue on their legal side, but clear inaction of sexual harassment after a certain passing of years is something that is problematic. you cannot clear something so important, even if the victim finds the strength to speak about it many, many years later. We're all here to face every fear, speak, and empower other women. And something last, which I think connects all of this. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it is a need, because there is a huge misunderstanding here. Dynamic women can be vulnerable, and this has to be understood by men whom they cannot deal with this part of strong women. And I point this because this side of women, especially when they are dynamic, independent, and leading figures, is misinterpreted as weakness for men, and this has been the cause of many misunderstandings and hurtful endings within relationships that lead to emotional violence. Thank you very much.
I was wondering if you had tried to go through, or if the government has tried to go through the Hoteliers Association and to do a sort of rolling shelter room in the same way that pharmacies are, open and not open. They take turns doing it for two reasons. One, because it doesn't just depend on the goodwill of one hotel manager or owner. Yeah, I'd like to support, or no, I don't want to support. But also because it doesn't take long for the word to get out about where people are taken. And if you keep going to the same hotel, I can see, in an outlying area where they don't have a shelter yet, or in a small area where you might need it. But if you keep going to the same hotel with every woman who's taken in with her children for a temporary stay, it won't be long before the guys get the word out. And then it becomes a security issue for the hotel, and you may lose their support. So I was wondering if there was, if it's been carried on to the next stage of trying to organize on a larger basis with hotel associations.
On that, I think though that this point is great to be considered. This meeting with the hoteliers, with the association, it's a great idea, and mostly for as you said, not pin down which are the hotels. These need to rotate and not to be obvious to those guys who have acted like that. So I think it's a great thought to take this further. I see something on the chat that concerns all of us. Possibly Georgia will read it, but I'm
yes,
sure
we have another question.
All of us would be willing
for everyone, all the guest speakers. Is there any way to support, with the incredible expertise of all three of the presenters, Likia and Gymnasia teachers, to spread the Me Too message with your excellent tailoring of the message to the Greek reality? Well, I already kind of know that would be great, but I think these decisions with Likia and Gymnasia are up to the Ministry of Education, what is permitted and what isn't, correct?
Exactly, and it's a wonderful proposal though, right?
So here we are, red tape again.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Education at this stage, it's a responsibility of all of us. We all said that basically, and I'm sure that, and if it is addressed to
Fantastic
all three of us,
idea.
for sure all three of us, we are willing to speak to kids, to speak to teachers, and so many other people. But I think that we saw that with Me Too and other movements. It starts from somewhere, and although many events have been organized around this, today it's another event and another proposal. And even if this comes as a suggestion from the Democrats abroad, that might be great, and with our support towards the Ministry of Education as a proposal. And I'm sure that there will be many volunteers to help. I have the feeling that there is a feeling of ownership to the kids. It's like people say my kids, so I know how, but this is not the case. I think one of the situations we really need to encourage and train people that kids are not like to be owned. They are here and we are all responsible to protect them. This is something.
Okay, ladies. Once again, thank you very much. Eugenia, Maria.
Many, many thanks.